Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you're having an awesome day. So I wanted to discuss something that's a pretty controversial issue in this movement, and that is weight gain with a high fruit, high carb lifestyle. So there is a lot of controversy because a lot of people report gaining weight on high calorie, a lot of people report losing weight on high calorie, and pretty much the results are extremely different for everybody. And the reason for that is because everyone is coming from a different background. Some people are coming from calorie restriction, some people are coming from standard American diet, calorie abundance, some people are coming from a paleo diet, Atkins diet, whatever. Everyone is different. So also, for many people who come to this lifestyle, it could be the first time in their lives that they're eating an abundance of calories and eating enough for their bodies. So I wanted to start this off by discussing the Minnesota starvation experiment, which was conducted in World War II. And what they pretty much did was they took 36 men between the ages of 20 and 23, and these men were chosen based on their strong physical and mental resilience. And they pretty much did this instead of going to war. So this was a year-long experiment, and it was divided into 4 phases. So the first phase was the control period, which lasted about 12 weeks. And during this time, the participants were fed 3,210 calories every day. And they walked about 2 to 3 miles a day at a 20-minute per mile pace. They were given this amount of calories to maintain their body weight and their activity level. And the food they were fed was pasta, bread, potatoes. So now the second part of the experiment was the starvation period. This lasted for 24 weeks, and the participants were allowed to eat a maximum of 1,600 calories a day, which is actually more than a lot of these calorie restriction diets nowadays allow. And the goal was for them to lose 25% of their weight. And they were again given those starchy carbohydrates as their fuel. Now the third part of the experiment was the restriction rehabilitation period. Now this lasted 12 weeks, and the men were divided into 4 groups, and they were each given a different allowance of calories, vitamins, and protein supplements to see what would best help rehabilitate their bodies. Last stage was the unrestricted rehabilitation period, where the men were allowed to eat as much as they cared for. So what were the conclusions? Many of the volunteers said that they would have rather went to war than have participated in this study because of how devastating it was to them mentally and physically. At the end of this experiment, these men had turned into physical and emotional wrecks. Physically, they experienced dizziness, muscle weakness, hair loss, and reduced coordination. Some of them actually ended up dropping out of school because they simply didn't have enough energy to function. Mentally, they had reported feeling extreme irritability, depression, sense of deprivation, loss of sex drive, self-loathing and self-hatred, and they constantly would want to binge. So, what did we learn in this experiment? First of all, there's a myth in the dieting world that you need to create a deficit of 3,500 calories a week to lose 1 pound a week. Now, this experiment, in the first part, the men were given 3,200 calories a day on average to maintain their weight. Now, when they were in the calorie deficit stage and they were given roughly 1,600 calories a day, something really interesting happened. They lost weight as well as their energy level. And so what had happened was, in order for them to keep losing weight to get to that 25% weight loss, they had to lower their calories lower and lower and lower. Some of the men even needed to be limited to 1,000 calories a day in order to keep going on with their weight loss because their bodies had simply plateaued. And now, after all of this, a lot of the men ended up binging on food, gaining all the weight back, and actually gaining back 10% more of the weight than they had originally started with. So what can we learn here? That calorie restriction actually ends up slowing down your metabolism, and when you come back to eating a normal amount, you're actually going to gain weight because you have suffered metabolic damage. And that's definitely the case with the metabolism. If you don't use it, you lose it. If you are constantly restricting your calories and eating a very low calorie diet, your metabolism is just going to wither away, and you're going to be needing to eat less and less each year and not really seeing much weight loss. Now, what actually needs to be done is you need to up your calories and eat those 2,500, 3,000 calories, and your metabolism is going to be fired back up. You're going to have the energy to do fitness. You're going to have cognitive ability that's sharp, and you're going to have the energy to do the things you need to do and be mentally on point. I personally know when I have restricted in the past, I do not have the energy to do the things I do, and on top of that, I just end up hating myself and hating my life. And who wouldn't when you live in a restricted world? And essentially, when you're restricting your food, you're consequently restricting your happiness, your mental ability, and your energy, and who would really want that? Now, what happened to me when I started going on this high carb, high calorie lifestyle is the first year and a half, I wasn't seeing any weight loss results. Now, this is expected as I was healing a lot of health problems, and my body just wasn't ready to let go of that weight. Unfortunately, I listened to some really bad advice from behind the scenes, and I ended up doing 3 juice fasts, 1 5-day, 1 10-day, and then right after the 10-day, I did like another 5-day. There was like a 3-day break. And what happened? I lost 10 pounds. And then since that point, so I ended my last fast about a year ago in May, I've gained the 10 pounds that I originally lost, and now I've gained 10 pounds on top of that. And why is that? It's because I really slowed my metabolism down, and my body's having a hard time handling all the calories again. But the thing is, if I keep going and I power through it, my body's gonna eventually have that fired up metabolism, and the weight is gonna come off. And that's the thing, a lot of people come to this lifestyle and it's going to be the first time in their lives where they're eating enough calories. So yeah, your body might hold on to some weight in the beginning. However, it's just there until your metabolism catches up. And then once it's caught up, you're going to slim down. And if you keep going at this, you're going to be lean forever. And we see with the long-termers that that's what happens. For me, mentally, the hardest part with the weight gain is just feeling uncomfortable in my own skin and hearing from people say to me, do you really eat only raw fruits and vegetables? Shouldn't you be skinnier if that's the diet you're on? And unfortunately, it came to a point that I was embarrassed to tell people my diet because I didn't feel like I looked like I should have. And this past weekend, I found this super awesome book that I used to read when I was a little kid, and it's called The Hungry Caterpillar. So in this book, it's about a little baby caterpillar, and this caterpillar eats like a bunch of fruit, and then it eats a bunch of junk food, but we don't need to eat that. And then it gets really, really fat, and then it gets into its cocoon, and then it turns into a butterfly. And this has made me feel so much better because I feel like that caterpillar, and I'm in my cocoon right now, and eventually I'm gonna become a butterfly, I hope. After seeing that book, I actually put on this butterfly necklace, and I didn't realize till today that I've been wearing it this whole time. So that actually made me feel better because I felt that subconsciously my mind was, you know, headed more towards that butterfly phase of my progress. So I hope this video helped you guys out. Use your metabolism, keep eating, and guaranteed you will get results long term. I hope you guys have an awesome day. If you have any more information for me or questions or anything like that, please post it down below, and I hope to talk to you soon. Bye.